As we mentioned, Israel is honoring the memory of the 6 million Jews who were murdered in the Holocaust. But there were other Jews who fought in the U.S. military, enabling a victory for the world, their country, and ultimately the Jewish people. More than 75 years later, one soldier in the Israel Defense Forces told CBN News how his family's 300-year history of military service on 3 continents closed the gap, taking them through World War II and finally home to Israel. Here's Julie Stahl with that story.
At age 18, Jesse Ebner immigrated to Israel to enter the IDF and fulfill a family tradition that goes back generations.
I knew I was going to the military based off of my family's history, that everybody for the past 300 years has been in one military or another, starting back in the Austrian Empire all the way to the United States. And I decided that I had to come here for ideological reasons.
Ebner's grandfather and great-uncles fought with the American military during World War II. Those great-uncles helped defeat Nazi Germany and liberate the Dachau concentration camp.
One brother was in the 101st Airborne. They liberated the Dachau internment camp. And his other brother was in the 1st Infantry Division, and he landed also at the D-Day landings.
Meanwhile, grandfather Jacob served in the Pacific, fighting the Japanese.
My grandfather, he was a Seabee. A Seabee is a combat engineer in the Navy, and during World War II, their job was to open the way for the Marines to land on the beaches to fight the Japanese. So he was in Iwo Jima, he was in Guadalcanal. His job was to get onto the beach, defuse mines, to stop tank traps, in order for the Marines to be able to have a successful invasion of these islands.
This military heritage that began centuries ago also led to a name change.
We originally were the Cohen family, and they decided that they wanted to be officers in the Austrian military, so they bought the last name Ebner, which was a nice Austrian last name. And it just continued up until my father himself was a fighter pilot in the United States Air Force.
Ebner now feels his family has come full circle.
I think partially it was hearing about the experiences of my grandfather and his brothers to find something that I could fight for, and I saw Israel. It's our homeland, and it's something that we can fight for now, and it's something that exists. And it might have been something that 300 years ago my family would have liked to have done but did not have the opportunity to do it. Something that I feel could close the circle also of my grandfather's brother who liberated the camp, the people that were in the camps now, that we can stand up for ourselves.
With anti-Semitism on the rise around the world, Ebner says it's important for Israel to be here for the Jewish people and for the IDF to be able to protect it.
I'm happy to wake up every day to know that I'm doing my part to make sure that the world's a little bit safer. We're on the front lines of what could happen to the world, and that's why we need to be the strongest we can be and keep up what we're doing, because I believe the IDF is the strongest army in the world and that we're ready for whatever our neighborhood can throw at us.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Rehovot, Israel.
Alpha.